Welcome to the June 24th Planning Board meeting. Our first one in person in a while. This is good. I'm just going to ask anybody that's not vaccinated, if you don't mind wearing a mask, everybody that is vaccinated, whatever you want to do. Chairman's not here tonight, so I'm filling in for him. We've got a town resident that would like to make a couple comments about something. They're gonna sneak him in before we hit the agenda.
How you guys doing? I appreciate you. All I need is a couple minutes. I'm John Nikias. I didn't move in last week and trying to change things. October, I've been here 40 years. I have a problem with the new short-term rentals. I don't know, there's regulations everywhere on them. I know a place that has a 2-bedroom septic. Tuesday, I counted 18 people there. Yesterday, there was 23. I don't know what can be done in the town level, but I'm just starting to research it now, so I'm a little bit, not too prepared, but
Yep.
you guys must be aware of this problem that's happening.
Well, personally, I'm aware of it. When I design septic systems for a living, so I know very well what's happening all over the state
Right.
with that. And we're gonna propose something, when we can, during our zoning amendment period, middle of December, about that. And how we do it is up to the board, how it gets presented. It'll have to go to town meeting, but that is on our agenda this year to
Nice.
do something about.
like
And when we do it, we can notify you, so if you'd like to come and you can participate in the process.
Like I say, I'm just
What we're
starting to
doing.
collect information now. I'll have some information. Do you have a box upstairs or something? That I can put information? Do you have your own?
If you have you can email it to Naomi or something, and she
Or
can,
drop it in Karen, we'll make sure they get it, John.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, because
well, that is, I've talked to a couple members about it already. I'm not sure how we're gonna get where we're going, but
yeah, 'cause
we'll see.
there's
But
a few towns.
I think we're gonna do something about it.
There's a few towns that outlawed it altogether,
Yeah,
and one's going to court now, and another one just pointed me in the direction of a state conference that came 2019 in Concord that specifically spells it all out.
yeah.
I would have it. I just received it though. It's 26 pages, so I'll get
You
it
can,
to you
you
guys.
can email that to somebody. You don't have to make copies.
It's getting, like I say, I've been there 40 years, and you got people from California buying places over here just to rent them, so it's not residential
No,
anymore.
I understand. No,
It's turned commercial.
I know.
Okay,
I see it all over the state.
well, like I
That's
said,
why I'd like to address it.
I appreciate your time, and thank you, and you are aware of it, and I'll
Yeah.
get that to you, Naomi.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, and
Thank
have a
you,
good
John.
evening.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Thanks. Okay. Next, we've got a continued subdivision of Alfred B. Lauder. I guess Art's here for that.
Yes.
We had some questions last time you were here about a driveway and monuments.
Thanks. Thank you. I think that was one of the items you wanted, to waive the test pits on the 10-acre lots. I think you approved it, it's just you wanted it written.
Yeah.
It was approved. So since last week, yes, we had to address the driveway. That was one of the items. There was another one, I forget now.
Yeah, it was monuments and the driveway. The driveway was the,
Well, so, so we designed a driveway, it's, I moved, Craig suggested moving the property line over, I did that. So the northerly lot, lot 1.2, that comes on the north side of the lot. And this new driveway for lot 1-1 is we've got minus 2%, plus 5%, plus 10% to 2%. 552 feet of road, of driveway. So it can be done.
That looks much better.
Well, I think now that I've moved the line over, they probably could still build in the bottom, but
Yeah, it gives them more room in
they
the
have the
bottom.
capability, yeah.
Yeah.
It gives them more room, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that line got moved 38 feet over, so. So that might take care of that. right? I don't think there were any other.
And the other thing was, the monuments,
Yeah, I
right?
gotta set the monuments. And, again, we discussed that. I'm gonna set them all along the road. You can, I didn't label them, but we'll set all those front monuments. But the rest of them, I'm setting the major corners of the lots.
Could you do, well, you got that, this lot line right here,
What's the length?
it's got about 15 different lengths on it there.
This one,
Yeah,
the stone wall one?
Just, could you put a tie line between the iron pipe found and the drill hole found
can do.
on here?
That's gonna be my new method, I think. But that was surveyed. You know, I took all that from a survey, so.
Yeah, but if you can put a tie line in
Add a
there, at least
tie.
they can tie it together.
Yeah, well, they can
They,
take
they
it.
still can, but I mean, trying to find all those exact points, yeah.
Well,
You understand the point.
well, again, I've seen surveys where people just put tie lines between that, and the stone wall is the property line.
Yeah.
But, okay, we'll add a tie line. Yeah.
Because some of those changes in direction aren't very 1 degree.
Some people have their methods, you know, it's like,
You know, you go from
yeah, it's kind
5927 to
unnecessary.
7034, it's like just over 1 degree. Yeah, it's tough to find.
of, mhm. In that profile, I'm gonna make all that a little larger. All those numbers larger. It printed small. so-
Oh, the driveway profile at the bottom?
Yeah, I'll make all those numbers a little more legible. I'll clean that up.
Well, we'll generate some material going up that driveway, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 20-foot cut. No, it's not 20, it's 36, 50.
At least it's doable. You're not crossing the lot line with a cut, so, yeah. Anybody have any questions? No? Any butters have any questions? Any, the public have any questions about this? No? Okay. I'll close the public comment period. I think he pretty much addressed what we needed him to address. What he needs to do now, we can just make a condition. Add a tie line to that,
That stone wall.
stone wall. On the second course in off John Connor Road on the southerly side from, right?
Yep.
And increase the text size a little bit in the driveway plan profile so we can read it.
And there's probably a lot of bounds to be set too, right?
Yeah, the front ones all need to be set.
Also,
The roadside monuments.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of MTBS's out back too. so-
right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You want to count them? One, huh?
Probably shouldn't count them. Because if you pinpoint a number,
Yeah, I know,
you're.
I know,
you
then,
may-
we- yeah,
maybe
which one don't have, to- which one don't have to
Say,
put in?
just tell me to set the corners, they're gonna get set, they'll all be labeled.
Except all these here don't say to be set.
No, they'll all be labeled, what I show.
12, I think.
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
12 on the road,
10. I only got 10.
but 11, the drill hole at the far end is already in.
12, 13.
But then there's all those around the back. He's got them labeled monument to be
I
set.
got 10. How are you getting this? Oh, over here too? 10, 11, 12, yeah, 13.
Yeah, there's one.
13 is the
Yeah,
ones on
13.
Quaker Street, yeah.
Yep.
It's 13 along the road.
Yep.
Sheesh.
So, and all the monuments along the road are to be, all the corners along the road is to have monuments, and the monuments to be set need to be set. Labeled monuments to be set need to be set.
Yeah, I think they'll all be drill holes, probably.
That's
We'll
fine.
see.
Somebody want to make a motion?
We got 4 conditions or 3 conditions?
Tie line, text size.
Tie line, text
monuments.
size, monuments,
Yeah,
is one
3.
combo.
Yep. No, the tie line is separate from the monuments.
Right, but, okay. So I make a motion that we approve this with the condition of the tie line on that southern wall between the DHF and IPF, driveway text larger, and the monuments along the road set, as well as all monuments that are identified as MTBS. 13 of them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good, thank you.
Keep this one for now.
I only need one of them, right?
Yeah, I was gonna do this one.
Whichever.
Motion.
Oh, he's a lot
I
neater.
learned from the last time, you don't need all the paper. We don't have enough space. And the floor won't hold all the weight.
Boy.
Good plan.
Next on the agenda, continued from our last meeting, is lot line adjustment for Merrill Shepherd, Timothy Farmer Revocable Trust, and Deb and Kurt McCarrion.
Yeah, the post office must forward them, we didn't.
This is the file for this, the waiver request.
Oh, but, yeah, you can't put it in writing.
Okay, so this is a lot line adjustment between tax lot 101, 128, 10160, and 101/1. And the property's all in residential zone. I have the areas prior to the lot line adjustment. Lot 128 is 5.01 acres. You can't see it there, but, well, you can, it's parcel A and parcel B. So that was tax lot 128. The purpose is to eliminate lot 128, so lot 60 was 2.199 acres, and lot 4011 was 2.33. None of the lots are in an aquifer protection area. They're not in a flood zone. Oh, wait a minute. Lot 10160 and 4011 are not in a flood zone. Lot 128 is in a flood zone, and I have it labeled there, you can see it. So parcel A, which was part of 128, is gonna go to lot 10160. And that'll bring lot 10160 to 5.359 acres. Parcel B is gonna go to 401/1. And the end result of that'll be 4.18 acres.
Please,
I
we'll
kinda
find-
dotted the
we'll find-
lines of 128, so 128 is gonna be eliminated, and I have that as a note, the annexation of parcels A and B, eliminate 10128 in note.
What was the total on the 4011 after?
4011 is 4.18.
18?
Yeah. Can you see where all the lines are? I kinda dotted it, maybe I should've made it a little heavier, but I put them in two different dots. I think in the center line of the brook is the property line between, looks like I need a tie line there.
Yeah,
Well, I have the dimensions. What I'll put is a tie line between the granite bound, the two lots. I'm placing, the reason why I did this, I can't monument the corner, which is the center of the brook, so I'm putting a monument on either side. If you look to the,
yeah, I
to the
see.
east, I've got a granite bound and a monument to be set with all the dimensions. And then on the westerly side, I've got two monuments to be set, so so you can find a line there. But what I'll do is I'll put a tie line between, a Bruce line between,
Bruce line.
a Bruce line between,
You wanna go with the granite bound and then that monument to be set that's on the same side of the brook on the other lot line?
I'm gonna go from granite bound to the, I'm gonna go to, the two monuments are on either side of the brook, in other words. You know what I mean?
Oh, 40, you mean?
From here?
From here to here,
Yeah, right.
and down, and the other side.
Yeah, okay,
All 4.
good.
And then the rest of the dimensions will take care of everything else.
Yeah,
So I'll just put a tie on either side of the brook. That'll help, yeah. I can see that, yeah. And then wherever that river meanders, that'll be the property line. That's what they wanted, so there you go.
Just so I understand, you're putting a granite bound in the brook?
No,
no,
Already there.
there's one there already. It's just off the shore of the brook, it looks like.
Gotta put it
up here. I'm putting, that's existing, I'm gonna put a point there.
Oh, and a tie line?
It may not, and
Yeah.
a tie line
On both sides.
from there to there. Probably not sitting granite, but.
Are those distances
say
gonna be the
What's that?
same?
What's that?
Are you gonna have those distances between those and that the same?
No, they're whatever they are.
Oh, okay.
It's whatever,
Yeah,
it's gonna be whatever the tie is. There'll be a bearing and distance to,
Okay, I see, yep.
the,
just so it,
The brook's wider at one end than the other.
yeah, it's not exactly
mean,
the same.
it's, to, I'm trying to think down the 50 years from now, when that brook does change, and somebody tries to use that, like you've got a 28 feet to the center line of the brook and a 26.4 to the center line of the brook,
Well, that's the way it is right now.
I guess.
Now, if it changes,
No, I know, but I'm thinking, just want to take those off? You got the 54.4, why even put a dimension to the center line of the brook if you're just gonna use it no matter where it is? Just a thought.
That's true. I can, hey, if you don't want those dimensions on there, I'll take them off.
That way,
Well, you gotta have the
50 years from
you
now,
gotta have the
something-
54, you gotta have
Yeah.
the 54.
right, the 54 and the other, and the 42.9
The
gotta
other
be
two,
there.
yeah, you're right, the other, that's fine, yeah, I'll take those off.
That way
That's-
if the brook
that's-
changes-
That's kind of a commitment.
Yeah,
I'll show the center line,
Well, if the brook changes, that changes the line.
yeah.
right. And it could change those numbers, that's why I think they're better off not being there. That way somebody's not getting into a argument saying, well, it's supposed to be that measurement.
Not when it says it's the center line.
Right, that's something, could take those off and then there's no argument.
Yeah, then there's no,
Yeah.
no commitment.
Right,
Okay, I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. Just show it.
you show the total.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I like that.
that way it's really the center line of the brook.
Mhm.
So are all these addresses correct on here?
I believe
Yeah, I changed
he
them. yeah.
changed them.
Misty Lane and
Misty Lane, yeah, and Farmer.
Farmer Lane. Mhm.
Tab tile.
Bruce lines. Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public, comments from the public about this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing part of this meeting. So we gotta add a couple tile lines, remove a couple dimensions, set monuments.
I've got a paved surface over there that I'm probably only gonna put iron rods in. Over on that driveway.
Where's that?
Over on, off the far end of,
Reservoir?
yeah. See, they're gonna be in a paved. Usually we just,
Oh, this,
if it's,
these two monuments that are in the driveway?
if it's usually a driveway, I just poke a iron rod there with a
I
cap
say you
on
can
it.
drive an iron rod right through the pavement, right?
And put a cap on it.
Yeah,
Just let you know now.
okay.
The rest will be,
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to dig up the,
no, I don't,
Driveway.
yeah, I don't wanna fool
put a
around.
pound in there.
Can make a mess.
Plus iron rod I can find with a metal detector later.
Oh, yeah, it'll be there.
We wanna make a motion?
So I move we accept it with the understanding, with the conditions that the monument, tile lines between, on each side of the brook will be identified. And I'm not sure if that's north and south or east and west. I think it's north and south. Remove the dimensions for the center of the brook. Would be number 2. And number 3 would, the monuments would be, to be set would be done, except for, the ones that are in the pavement will be iron rod. Or pipe or whatever. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Second.
Seconded by Jack. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
That was an approval, he said accept.
Yeah, I know.
Just clarifying in the minutes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
over there. The rest can go in there. Folks wanna keep it. I don't need all that paper, just one. The rest can go in the circular.
Circular file.
Next on the agenda, site plan review and conditional use permit for Dennis Lassard, Abshan Realty Company, 455 South Stark Highway. Mr. Bowler was in here before. Is that how you say it right, Bowler?
Mr. Baum, my last name's Matt Bombacy, Bowler's the company.
Oh,
If you call me Mr. Bowler, though, I might get a big head, so don't do that. I got a raise. Yeah, I might get a raise.
the representative of the Bowler Company came for a conceptual a couple of months ago.
Back in March.
Yeah.
Zoom meeting.
So we kind of talked about it a little bit then. Looks like he's pretty much prepared the application and plans. Evidently having a hard time finding our conditional use permit application, so I'll have to get him one tomorrow.
You guys don't mind if I borrow this one, do you? Just-
That one's broken though,
Oh,
Matt.
it's broken.
Yeah. I'd say you could borrow it, but your plan might be on the floor. That's why ours
He's
is that
having
short.
technical difficulty with his.
It's been a year and a half since it's been used, so.
Stuck in the closet.
Cobwebs.
I can hold that. Let's see how it goes. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Does that work or no good?
So far.
Works
Oh,
so
beautiful.
far.
I'm not proud of it, but. Good evening. For the record, I'm Matt Bombacy with Bowler Engineering, representing the applicant Abashan Realty Company. Eamon Moran's here. He's the applicant of the project. As you noted, we were here back in March as kind of a conceptual review. Just wanted to get the board's preliminary thoughts on a project that we're assisting Eamon with. It's for a 10,500 square foot retail store and associated parking, stormwater, utilities.
Actually, you want to just, you want to keep this, if you just give us a brief description, then we'll look at the application, accept the application, then you go into your
Sure.
full
Yeah,
full
proposed-
presentation.
Proposed 10,500 square foot retail store at 455 South Stark Highway, and I'd be happy to run through the application materials if you'd like me to.
We'll go through the application first and get that accepted.
Where did you get the application?
Doesn't look like he's applying for any waivers.
So there'll be two waivers, one from the parking count,
Oh, that's right.
and then one, we have the sign location shown on the plan, but as far as specific tenant details, we don't have that information.
Sign,
And I wasn't sure a waiver was required necessarily for that, but wanted to include it just in case.
well, the sign permit would be, location, size, design, illumination, proposed, it's, almost shouldn't be on this application. We've got a different sign permit application that addresses those.
Yeah,
Yep.
that should be more like not applicable for this one.
Right. The waiver for the parking,
Yep.
you want to describe that?
Yeah, sure. So we proposed 32 parking spaces for the proposed use under the site plan regulations. It's 43 for medium-intensity retail use. After having spoken with you and Eamon back in March, the tenants that Eamon's looking at really only need about 30 parking spaces. That said, I remember the board asking, well, that's great, could you provide a little bit more information to support that? So what we included was a parking generation memorandum. We used the ITE parking generation data, and we analyzed a variety store, which is kind of like your general retail store, an auto parts store, and a hardware store, just to get the different demands for each, and the most that we encountered on that analysis was 32, so that's what we provided. That said, on our site plans, we did show what we call green bank parking, but basically parking that could be provided if it was ever needed. We'd rather keep that area green and landscaped, but if there was a condition that parking needed to be constructed, if needed, we'd be amenable to that. At the
Yeah,
end.
and that's what I was just thinking. If we give you the waiver, the space, the area is still there available to increase the parking to get to that requirement if you find out you need it.
Yep, that's perfect. What we did on the site plan is actually showed the striping and what the curbing and striping would look like if we ever needed to do it, and it fits within this flat, grassed area that's on site. We'd rather keep it landscaped.
Okay.
If we-
So I guess we'll address the waiver first. Anybody have any thoughts about that?
Parking waiver?
The parking waiver, yeah.
I don't have any problem with it.
No? No,
I like the
seems-
idea that, the area is still there available if need be in the future.
He seems to have it pretty well covered.
If the building goes into some other use that's a little heavier.
Yep.
Any motion on the waiver?
Move, we accept the waiver.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll get the waiver accepted.
Do we need to do the signage one, or do you want us to withdraw
Well,
that
the
request?
sign one really, I don't really think, what kind of waiver for the, you're really looking for a waiver to the sign ordinance.
We don't propose any modifications to the zoning requirements of signage. I just noticed one of the checklist items was show the size, type, and appearance of the signage, which we don't have right now because we don't have a tenant.
Oh, so
Again,
you
I don't
have-
think it's really necessarily applicable, but I just didn't want to skip that item and ignore it. And we could commit that the sign will be within the zoning ordinance requirements, which I think is 32 square feet and 12 feet high. If they needed something different, they need to go to the zoning board anyways, which.
Right, which I think is, you're fine with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wouldn't recommend necessarily going to
No,
them.
but I mean, but handling it that way, I think is fine. I mean, we have a sign ordinance, so it's not like we're looking at the sign at the same time here.
Yep.
You can, make a condition that they come in for it when the time's right, so
Well, if they come for the sign permit.
come for the sign permit at the
It
time.
has to be compliant, apply,
Yep.
or go with a variance.
Just make
or-
sure it's
Yep.
in the record for this one.
Right.
Because it's not really applicable for the application
No.
at this point.
Okay, I guess we'll. Anybody want to make a motion on the application itself?
I'll make a motion that we accept the application for Obashan Realty Company for the property on map 412, lot 248, 455 South Stark Highway for their
Okay,
plan review.
second?
Second.
Second by Pastor Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. Now, if you can explain the whole site plan, that'd be great.
Absolutely, great. So as I noted, a 10,000 square foot retail store building. Yes.
Sir, I have one problem. Can you see that sign?
It's kind of glary, yeah.
If I put it, maybe, do you mind if I stick it on the table in front of you guys?
No, that'd be great.
I feel bad.
Yeah, the light was glaring right on it there.
That work?
That's better.
So 10,500 square foot retail store building with 32 parking spaces. We kind of mentioned this when we met with the board originally, but we tried to lay this site out to be sensitive not only to the site, which has some constraints as far as topography and soils and things like that, but also the zoning order requirements and some of the ways we laid things out. So we provided the building, outside the building setback, and the parking completely next to the building and no parking in front of the building. That kind of meets the intent of the zoning ordinance, which mentions that as as a requirement, what that does is it provides a 50-foot landscape buffer between the building and parking and the property line. And then there's about another additional 40 feet of existing landscape buffer that's just part of the highway right-of-way. So it's about 90 feet from the road to the building or the road to the parking. We thought that was important just to provide as much landscaping and ways to break the eye from the development from the roadway. We also located parking and loading to the rear of the building, which is kind of at the top left of the plan there. The dumpster will be completely screened with a solid wood fence and completely behind the building. So if there are any loading operations, that truck will be behind the building and not visible from the right of way. We also put quite a bit of attention into the landscaping plan, particularly
Do you
the.
have plans in it? Naomi? Color ones? Yeah.
You want this, yeah?
Yeah, please. Pat, that's a color one. You can take a look at that, Jack. That's-
I got the same one here, so.
Yeah, that one's colored.
He's got it right there, too.
I got a couple of them. There you go.
Two different views. Yeah.
Both.
I think he's got one right there, if
I
you
went
guys
here.
want on the table.
We got the.
He's got the big
I
one.
get the black and white one.
Yeah, well, that's all, we don't have a color copier, so. But I shared it to you. Sorry, can't do everything.
So as it noted, quite a bit of attention on the landscaping. We proposed 41 shrub plantings and 7 new trees. There's also some existing trees. If you can picture the site, they're located kind of next to the existing residential building, and then there's a whole row of them between this property and it used to be a realtor's office. I'm not quite sure what's in there now. It was sold fairly recently, but there's a big row of existing trees there. We set out to maintain those. We did the grading and the layout so that we weren't disturbing those roots. That said, if one of those trees did get damaged during construction, we'd replace it with a new planting similar to what we're proposing. But where those were more mature, we wanted to try to work around and keep those. For building, we also, not only for the trees to break up the parking lot, but also the buildings, we proposed shrubs along the whole entire face of the building. These would be 2 new proposed street trees, and these would be the existing trees. This would be the view from South Stark Highway. This view here would be from the parking lot area, so you'd see this coming from the north. There would be trees that would be in your view corridor as you come through, but they're much in front of the building. They'd be the ones in front of the parking lot. And this side here, these are the existing trees that are located along that property line at the former Realtor office, and this would be this side of the building. And this would be the back of the building, which faces that slope,
Yeah,
which
so
goes
they're
up
just
however
ahead.
many feet up in the back.
That color scheme in that building, is that pretty much what the color scheme would be, or?
That's what Eamon was proposing. I think he's not super sensitive about color. If there was a color preference of the board, I'm sure he'd be amenable to it. I think he tries to stick to
Yeah, the-
more
the-
neutral colors,
I
but
think the blue would be a little, overbearing almost.
sure, yeah, and again, if you
Just-
prefer to
yeah.
go with like a tan or a different color, just
Yeah.
let us know and we'd be
Okay.
amenable to that.
Great, great.
It's like a dark gray blue.
Slate, like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like slate with blue
Yeah,
hue.
and that's,
I don't know
does
what
that
to
look
say.
like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was hard to tell a little color, those look like shakes up there? Like shake style siding, or?
Yeah, there wouldn't be shakes.
Like hardy plank siding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
it's like a darker, it's more of a darker gray. I mean, I have a sample of it in my office. I can just send it to you folks, but.
Okay. Yeah, I just, it's a little stark. I don't know. But if you're open to suggestions, that's great.
Yep, yeah, we'd be, if there was, I don't
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
What is the retail store supposed to be?
We're not sure at this time. Eamon works for Abishon Realty Company, but he works with a bunch of different tenants. I think he's looking at, it's a hardware store, an auto parts sailor, and one of the general retail stores, like a Family Dollar or Dollar General, are the ones that he works with a lot, so that's what we would expect would be the user. We are proposing 1 driveway curb cut off of South Stark Highway. We've submitted applications to DOT. Obviously, it's DOT jurisdiction. We'll need a driveway permit application from them. That said, this property is permitted to up to 3 curb cuts, and we only need just the 1, so I think DOT will like that. Also, there's plenty of site distance, well over the 400 feet DOT requires. So, quite frankly, we're not really expecting much comment from them, but we're certainly going to secure that permit application. It's also a minimal traffic generator. Each of the three uses generates less than 100 vehicle trips, which is a trip in and a trip out in the peak hours. So again, NHDOT reviews this info, but we don't expect they'll have an issue with the trip generation. It's low in comparison to other users like a restaurant or things like that. One item we did spend quite a bit of time on is the stormwater management system. This is in the Aquifer Protection District, which I'll get into in a second, but we want to provide a system in full compliance with the NHDES stormwater management requirements. We've designed 2 infiltration basins, each equipped with a sediment forebay for tree treatment. One is located at the front of the parking area, between the parking area and South Stark Highway. The other is located to the left side of the building, or about the east side of the building, over on that side.
South side.
Are they grassed on the bottom or
South
gonna be
side.
stone?
They'll be grassed on the bottom.
Okay.
I mean, we've done it both ways. If we can do a loam mixed with sand, so that the grass will grow, but it's still permeable, that's
Yeah,
kind of
it
our.
looks a little better than having a stone basin sitting there.
Yep, yeah, sometimes the vegetation's hard to manage in a situation where we have tough soils and there's a lot of water in there. In this case, this is in the Aquifer Protection District, with the one bonus is very permeable soil, so we don't expect
Right.
they'll be holding water, so the grass will be able to survive in there. In sizing the basins, it's not a literal requirement in the NHDES requirements, but we size them to just basically hold and infiltrate and detain the entire 50-year storm event. Usually just have to mimic existing conditions, but in this case, we had good soils, we had plenty of room on the site, we weren't like overbuilding the site or anything, so just a little bit extra basin allowed us to infiltrate that entire volume. As far as groundwater recharge, again, we're calculated recharge everything that goes into those basins up into the 50-year storm, so for the NHDS requirements, I think we're about 10 or 15 times whatever their recharge requirement is, but it's essentially recharging everything.
Yeah, you kinda have to, because you've got no place to dump it.
Yeah, well, we do, so if there were to be a surcharge, which we certainly wouldn't expect, there's a swale that runs along the front of South Stark Highway that goes to a catch basin at that front left corner.
Right in here.
And then I believe that goes under the road.
Yeah.
That said, we've calculated no discharge into that swale, but that would be the 200-year storm, scenario
Yeah.
where everything gets taken through. As I think I noted, we need a conditional use permit for being in the Aquifer Protection District, and we requested that. The conditional use is for greater than 10% of impervious coverage on the lot.
Correct.
We're 13.7% proposed, we're just over that threshold, but still requested the conditional use permit. There's basically 2 things in our mind that are really the review criterion we saw in zoning. It's stormwater management and it's the use itself. So for stormwater management, we designed a system in complete compliance with the NH Stormwater Handbook. We did test pits out at the site to make sure we had more than 3 feet to groundwater separation. We have the recharge. We analyzed all the storms up to the 50-year storm event to make sure we're mitigating all those storms, and we've provided not only the treatment in the infiltration basin, but the pre-treatment of sediment forebays, a catch basin in place, and grass swales going along the property. As far as the use, there's no proposed outdoor storage of really anything environmentally sensitive on the site, and we're amenable to a condition of that. And that includes not only just gas, petroleum, things like that, but we would include like salt, fertilizers, things that are environmentally sensitive that aren't necessarily hazardous, but we'd be amenable to just no outdoor storage, which I think is in keeping with the Aquifer Protection District. Couple other quick housekeeping notes. There is private water and septic here. We've laid out a septic system in front of the building where we've already done test pits. That's being designed by our septic subconsultant, who's Bill Evans. He used to run the NHDS septic program. You sound like you designed septic systems, so I hope he treated you well. If he didn't, then he's not designing it. But he's going to be designing. He's already talked to NHDS and laid it out with them, and they're comfortable with it. We also have a well in the back, which will permit as a public water supply well, just in case there's public restrooms or things in the facility. That's permitted again through NHDES, and that application's in and pending. We've located upgrading of the lot away from the septic system, so we're expecting there wouldn't be a ton of issues there, but we'll get that permit before.
You've got a
we're
ton of room
constructed.
to put it, so I'm not too worried about it.
And one last note, as I mentioned the last time we were in here, we did have Tom Sokolowski looking at the site just to confirm there were no wetlands out there. At that time, there was actually still a little bit of snow cover, so he couldn't give me his guarantee because he just wanted to check out the areas that were under snow. He has since been out there, there's no wetlands out there, and he gave us a letter that we included with our submission.
What we're gonna do, we're gonna have our town engineer, Keith Nordstrom, take a review this for us because of the drainage, make sure everything's okay.
Okay.
And we'll do a site walk. so the board can be familiar with the site. And if the board so chooses. Usually we do.
Just down there the other day. It's right up
Yeah, it's
there.
certainly up to you guys. It's obviously a very visible site, but if you wanted us to meet at your site, we'd be obviously more than
Yeah,
happy
we'll
to do
we'll
it.
let you know when it is, so you can, we'd like you to be there, so even the questions we
We'll
can.
bring lawn chairs and a cooler. And
Yeah. The, I mean, I like the use, I like the idea that it's gonna get used for a commercial application, like we hope would happen in the commercial zone. Sometimes people kick and scream about having to do something commercial in the commercial zone, but this is good. At least I think it is.
Well, question. Everything looks pretty clean. It should be a real asset to the town.
thank you.
And what generally, I mean, it's pretty obvious what a hardware store is or what an auto parts store is.
Yeah.
There's one across the street, so we could probably eliminate that one, unless they're moving over.
Yeah.
But, what wouldn't a general retail store be? What
Wouldn't it be?
wouldn't it, what would it not be?
To me, it wouldn't be like something that primarily serves like food, so like a supermarket, because those have different trip generation, different parking needs. So general retail store would be just general goods. Like think of like a pharmacy without the pharmacy, which is kind of essentially what like a Family Dollar or Dollar General is. So to me, the one that sticks out in my mind is it wouldn't be like a food market, because that has high turnover, high customer value.
Yeah.
But generally, just anything that just sells general retail goods, we would expect would fall under that category.
I mean, it's sort of unusual to permit something when you don't really know what it's gonna be, although I was thinking it never happened, but it has happened. So it isn't totally,
And it's like Langtots Plaza right next door, and
Yeah,
anything
so-
can go in those spaces, really, you know?
right, but
But-
they would come in, we would know exactly what was going on.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
not necessarily.
Well,
I mean, what he's proposing, I think, is all in the same use category in the zoning, it's all, there's no,
yeah, that's true. Okay.
Is there a timeline for the tenant?
It's kind of tough. No one really wants to talk to you formally until you have permit or the ability to permit the project.
Right.
So I spend some money with Bowler and I get in front of you folks and then I hopefully get a permit. And then when I have that, then I can go really kind of negotiate with people that would be interested in the market. Until that time, no one really wants to talk to you to formalize it. So 3 to 6 months, I would hope. If it's longer, then it's a tough deal. It's a tough
Why
job.
would they, isn't that a saturated market, cause Three Corners has a significant tool section, the Napa's right across the street, we really need like another tool store right there, cause I'm their only residential neighbor in the area, really. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't speak to what different, companies want for, sometimes I see a McDonald's and a Burger King across from each other, I can't quite.
yeah, and
But
it's not, we're not, it's not our position to dictate what kind of use a property owner wants to use their property for. If they want to come in with something that's a permitted use, that's all we care about, it's a permitted use. They could be doing the same thing that Three Butters are doing. It's not our position or our jurisdiction to say, no, you can't do it.
I would, in my experience, retailers that are active in this space, specifically ones that are in general goods space, would not go to a place where they didn't see opportunity.
Obviously,
Meaning, they're in the business of selling retail goods. I think most people see this community as a place that is somewhat underserved for some goods, whether they be hardware, whether it be specific auto parts, or general goods like you mentioned, Family Dollar, Dollar General, and those goods. So that's how we've sort of identified the marketplace. And then once we get the permits, we would go and kind of talk to those type of folks and say, are you interested in actually coming here?
Right.
So we see the positive things in the community, and then we tend to think that it looks like communities they've been in, and so that's kind of how we kind of marry who might come to the town and go talk to them.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? No? Any public, have any questions?
I guess it's just hard to comment when you don't really, big difference between, you know.
Sir, you mind going up to the podium, or?
No, it's just hard to comment, I mean, you don't really, hardware store, versus like
Once again,
an adult novelty
Sir,
store, you
sir,
know, it's a
sir.
big thing. So,
Yeah,
I mean.
and could you give us your name for the record, please?
Andrew Beatty, 477 South Stark Highway. So I am probably the one holdout residential-wise in the area. I just moved in October, but I think actually my house is dual zone residential and commercial. So I mean, I don't generally have an issue with, even like a Family Dollar, or I kind of just had no idea what the proposed property was, so I don't want to all of a sudden find out I'm living next to any number of things. But it sounds like, a grocer or apparently another tool store, if that makes sense. I mean, that's a big difference versus any other number of things I was hoping wasn't gonna be planned to go there, so.
yeah, it'll be on the plan, that, what the use is.
Hard to comment
according to
when I
our
have no
zoning,
idea.
so that they're only allowed that particular use. I mean, that's how-
Kind of go over some uses that are permitted in that zone?
Yeah, I think the ones I can say that aren't, so there's certain uses that are conditional uses or special permit uses in the zoning. I think those would be the ones that maybe you'd be concerned about, like I don't know, a marijuana facility or a casino or whatever. It wouldn't be something like that. It would be just your typical general retail store. It's not, it's not something that would be, I guess, otherwise conditioned.
I mean, if we need a fifth or sixth of those, and where, I mean, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other people from the public? Okay, I'll close the public comment period. Like I said, we're gonna send this to the town engineer for review.
Awesome. And Naomi, if you want to just send us that info right away, I know Eamon would be anxious to get that rolling, so we can just
What's
provide.
Eamon's last name?
Moran.
Yeah, my name is Eamon Moran, and I work for the Oakland Realty Company for the record.
I couldn't even get that out of your signature. How do you spell your last name?
M-O-R-A-N, Moran.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
I'm sure you read Bomb Basie just fine. Off my signature.
No, you typed it.
Oh, good.
You typed it underneath. Eamon didn't.
And any idea how long, Keach Roastman is taking these days?
This will be my first time. I don't know. All I can do is send it over
Yep.
and ask him for
Okay.
time frame. But I have both Matt and I think
Well,
Eamon's
we,
email.
Well, I don't know that they'll get to it. I mean, our next meeting scheduled is July 8th. I'm not sure that they'll have it.
You just said no meeting July 8th.
Well, I know, but I don't think they'll get to it by then anyway, so.
Well, not with a holiday.
So I'm really thinking that we're gonna have to continue this till
22nd.
the 22nd of July.
Is that-
You could do a sidewalk in between.
And we'll do a
them.
site walk in between. We'll get the site walk done ahead of time.
Yep, yeah, you can just let us know whatever date that is, and we'll meet you out there.
Yeah, we'll get the site right now, hopefully.
Well, one thing that would give me a warmer feeling, eventually something's going in there. And it would be, you can put whatever, you don't really have to come before the planning board to do that, but just so the general population and the planning board have knowledge of what is going there, it'd be nice if you ran that by us.
Well, I think to approve the plan, Chuck, we're gonna have to put a list of what the proposed uses would be, because we gave them a reduced parking. So we're gonna have to put like a proposed list of uses that can go in there without affecting that parking is suitable for and that kind of thing?
And I think the use is listed in that parking memorandum that provided. I think we'd be comfortable with anything outside of that would require us coming in front of the board. I think we're pretty certain it'll be one of those three, and
So-
anything different, we'd be happy to come
So
in.
we'll put that right on the plan. So if it's a different use, they'd have to come back here to change that use.
You know, it might behoove those folks to give us the list they'd like. And rather than us develop a list, just present us with a list.
Yeah, we can provide you, it'll be the ones I talk about, we can send a quick memo just noting the list, that the uses that we would want included as permitted uses.
Okay. And you're welcome to the site walk that we're gonna have too. You won't, you can just tag along and see what's going on. It's really not,
I can give you my card and we'll just shoot an email to each other to let you know the date and time.
Yeah, that's fine.
If that's okay. I got a card with me.
so when do we wanna do the site walk?
He said when? He said when?
Oh, would they? Put it on right now.
I mean, I kinda like to do it close to the meeting, so it's like fresh in our mind when we go to the meeting, the next meeting, so.
15th?
July 15th?
I'm not going with you, so don't ask me.
That's fine.
It's the week before.
15?
Ray's here too.
The 15th, good, Ray?
Thursday.
Didn't grab my phone. Since I didn't get the memo, we're doing
So that's the week before,
Site walk. What are you doing? I have to post it, so July
July 15th. What time?
15th. What time you going?
I mean, it's late, late, so you wanna do it like 5:30, 6, or how late do you want to?
Yes, say 6:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll work.
6 or 6:30?
We'll make it 6:30, yeah, in
Whoop.
case they get tied up at work.
6? What'd you say?
6:30?
6:30.
Okay.
6:30 on the 15th.
What day is that falling?
Thursday.
That's, okay, so that's not a meeting day.
No.
No,
You're just
It's the
gonna do
week
that, but
before.
I have to post it.
Right. I don't think that site walk's gonna take long.
No,
no,
pretty
Pretty
flat
obvious
site.
what's
pretty-
there.
Yeah.
I go by it
But
often.
is there any chance that you could, maybe have 4 corner stakes in for the building?
Yeah, I can go out there
That-
and do swing ties, as long as you don't mind me being off by a foot. then
No,
that
no,
works.
just to get some idea.
you kinda got a box in the building that's there, right?
Yep.
It doesn't have to be down to the inch. I mean, we're just looking for a general location kind of thing.
Or even just some orange paint on the ground will do.
I was trying to give Dennis an idea. Dennis is trying to move. He's an older gentleman. And do you guys think by the 22nd, you'd probably have an understanding if we'd be able to move forward or not, the next meeting?
If we have a reply back from our town engineer, which I can't believe we wouldn't, it's not that tough of a site for him to review.
Right.
Then, yeah.
Okay, so, all right, very good.
You satisfied with the letter from Tom about Craig's
Yeah.
concern?
So Keach is only doing stormwater?
I see that? Should be in my packet, but I didn't see it.
Which, this is,
I really think that's the only thing he needs to
are you
review.
looking at the
Yeah.
letter?
Okay.
Everything else is pretty straightforward.
That's something
It's
that
not
I-
like he's
I
up
should
against-
engage with this gentleman for his services.
This is the letter was-
Directly, and I-
We'll,
We
we'll
do.
hire him and you pay us back.
This is
I must
the
have
town
that in here,
engineer.
right? Okay, I'll find it.
Okay.
And we kind of limit their scope of work. We just don't hand them everything and say, hey, what do you think of this? I mean, we're telling them we want them to look at the stormwater.
Not like a Boston attorney that's gonna shut it down.
Right, right.
Very good.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate the board's time tonight. It's just your first in-person hearing
Yep.
in a while.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
I hope I
you
didn't
are
make
the
it too
first.
painful for everybody. You know, if I find out you go back to virtual next time, I'll know that I did something wrong.
Unless the governor signs an order, I mean,
Yeah.
Which I don't
we'll
think
be
he's
back.
gonna.
no.
No, I don't either.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you guys. Yeah, I want them back. What do you think? It's yours?
Yeah, it's colored.
Yeah, she wants that one back too,
Step up
probably.
and buy me a colored copy and you can have them.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Okay,
Now
Kelly.
you're starting that.
Okay, Kelly.
Yeah.
She was doing that. You got it in your budget, go buy it.
Okay, we'll get,
You have John Hardy here, though.
I know, I was getting to that. He's not on the agenda, but he
No, I let him.
requested a minute before the board for a stone wall application.
3.
Three stone wall
Not one, but
applications?
three. Not one, but two, but three.
On
John, did you take pictures?
We did.
Sugar Hill North?
I didn't.
Yes. Is it Sugar Hill North or just Sugar Hill?
So, Sugar Hill. It used to be
Sugar
Sugar Hill North.
North and Sugar Hill South. but
You get
this is
the run out of ink ones.
I don't know. I call the one on the north side of 114 North and the other one south.
South, yeah.
Yeah, well, it
That's the way
always was,
used to
but
be. Sugar
now
Hill
it's
North,
Sugar Hill
South.
Road and South Sugar Hill.
I know where it is. My father-in-law's asked me 5 times what's going on over here.
I can tell him what you're doing, John, but,
Looks like the same picture 3 times.
Yeah, that's what it is.
oh, were you supposed to, well.
No,
pretty
three
much-
different ones.
Oh, these are all lot 2s. I got all lot 2s. You got,
Oh,
I get all lot ones. That's why they all look the same.
you know what? She sent me with like a couple copies, and I said this.
yeah, here's lot 2.
Okay,
need
here's,
more than
here's
one.
lot one.
Here's lot 2.
Here's lot one.
I don't know.
It's not.
You gotta
Here's
sort it
lot
out.
2.
I got 1, 2, and 3.
If there's another lot, here's the other half of lot one.
Okay,
Okay.
nice.
I don't have lot
Don't
three, though.
lose the paperwork that I gave you, though.
Who's got lot 3?
I got another lot one who doesn't have one.
You got lot 3?
Which it all looks the same anyways. It's that side of the road.
I know what you got.
Oh, yeah, you got lot 3 there. Are they all
I
lot
got
3?
lot 2, lot 3.
I think Chuck needs another lot 1. You got another lot 1?
There's another lot one. I got a whole stack of lot ones here.
Okay, there's another lot 1.
Okay, they all look the same. That's all.
They still all look the same?
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, they all look the same.
So I need a lot three.
Yeah, right here.
Sugar Hill
Oh,
Road
There
North,
we go. Good.
is it that field along the road?
You got a lot 3, Pastor Bill?
Is that what Towns, is that what Towns was up there cutting?
Yeah, just before, just after the White House. One, well, 3, 2, 1. Yep.
Oh, just
You
after
backed
the
right
house.
up to
It's
Steve's.
not in the field, it's that piece they've been working on.
Correct. Actually, where he's logging, there's 2 more lots there also.
I know exactly.
Okay.
There's actually 5 in there.
What, all 200-foot frontage?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with stones when you take them out, John?
You're gonna get that question asked when you go to the selectmen.
I'm just warming you up.
I
Yeah,
was just
Just
gonna
warming me up.
yeah.
Move them over in a
It's a
pile
lesson.
right there.
There's gonna be a selectman that's gonna get on you about that.
Take them from there and put them on each side on a pile?
Was the entire stone wall coming down?
No, just
No,
enough to get
just
the
the
driveway
driveways?
in. Probably, depending on coming back, how far back I'm gonna get my, maybe 50
Whatever your
feet of
driveway.
it.
Usually people go for like
Huh?
30 feet.
Yeah, 30 feet at the entrance.
30
Just
feet
for
at the
plowing
entrance,
this
but this
stuff.
back would have been off the road though.
Yeah, it still has.
Yeah,
to
but
have
I'd take it back 30 feet, because you gotta do a little ditch line or something, because you're heading down the hill, right?
Yeah.
So. That way you're safe.
that. Yep.
If you got underground utilities or whatever you wanna sneak in there, or
So that's another thing.
Whatever the
So
road
if I go
agent
over
tells you
the
for a
pole,
culvert.
Now you just mentioned something.
Have you talked to
So
Benji
there's gonna
about?
be three spots.
Yeah.
There again, I'm gonna have to open up. You
oh,
know,
to get the poles aren't near the driveways?
They're on our side of the road. But,
Yeah.
otherwise, we'd put new poles in and add 3 more poles on that road, which isn't
Well,
necessary.
where you go through with the pole, is there any chance you do like a narrow cut there and replace those stones? That'd be great there, yeah.
I think the first one, it's probably 20 feet up the road, the pole is, so it'd just come in, right off of that.
Put 100 feet in, they'll give you a pole.
You're gonna do underground anyways.
That's kinda why I brought it up. It's-
And you've already talked to Benji about the driveway permits and,
Yeah,
He's filled out the applications and then he's
driveway's
gotta
no
come.
problem. It was
Okay.
this procedure, which I didn't know really existed, because I never,
These 3 lots have been approved already?
Yep,
Yeah, approved years
they
ago.
approved you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I never knew there was 3 lots there.
there's actually 5.
5, because it's just one open field.
That's all what, out of the old town's estate anyway.
So you wanna do 3 30-foot stone wall removals, and 3 temporary removals, where you're gonna remove them for utilities and put them back.
Well, I suppose if you want to
Right.
spare the
Yeah.
wall, you could share a driveway too, right?
What was that?
I says, I suppose if the object was to spare the wall, you could share a driveway. I mean, I don't know if there's any big
Yeah.
advantage, but
But we're
How
trying to
big is
keep the
your temporary
driveways
one?
on
What's that?
How big are the temporary?
this side and then the other side, the other, you know,
Yeah.
type of deal. There's 200 seems wide, but you put a house in there and then 200 isn't.
Choose up fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out there, they have plenty of space on the left side.
Sometimes it leads to a lot of other issues too with shared driveways.
Yep.
is it residential zone?
Residential agriculture.
Agricultural.
Yeah, I think
It
it's
is,
all
it
right.
is rural ag.
All right.
Yeah.
Residential.
5 acre lots?
No,
Yep.
I don't think
I
they
think
are.
they were done
They are.
before that,
They were
Joe.
done before the,
They're 5,
Oh, are they?
they're a little over 5 acres.
yeah,
Oh, are they?
but they were done, I think, before the
So they go way
regulation.
back.
It's been a while.
Yeah, they've been there since.
It abuts that other lot, they have actually another lot.
Before 2021 of 1950.
Sorry.
Please
Oh, okay.
The one with
Yeah,
the
I
pond.
know, the one little field there,
The
yeah.
one with the pond. They actually have 9.
Public Works
What,
garage.
counting the one on the, counting the one on 114 with the little pond, is that what you said? Yeah, that was listed as waterfront property.
What-
No lie. I looked at it, I says, yeah. When I listed that having waterfront property, I says, more like a mud hole property. Wasn't much of a waterfront. Oh, looks like he's got everything.
You said there's 3 30-foot openings and 3 temporary openings for utilities?
To the utilities, because they're gonna put them underground. So they'll have to open it up.
Be putting those rocks back when they're done. so.
Yep.
We'll just make a recommendation for selectmen on this one.
What we recommend for these 3 lots on Shigley Hill Road?
What's
The lot
it?
number is lot 401, 19-1, 19-2, 19-3. Or 3 stone wall removals for driveways, 30-foot opening, and 3 temporary removals for utilities. And they will be restored after those are done.
Second.
All in favor? Right.
All right. See you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'll save your copies though, so you don't have to print them again.
Okay.
I'll just take all the copies from Monday night's.
You got them
statement.
organized now?
Yeah, now that they're all organized.
Yeah,
right.
now that they organized them, I'll take them all back for Monday night.
I'll hold on to mine for Monday night. Well, it'll be, when do we do it? This Monday?
Oh, you want this stuff?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah,
So
I'll
selectmen
just
can
keep them
reuse
for
it.
you. He's coming in
It's gonna recycle.
Monday night.
Oh,
It's coming this selectman.
You're gonna come this Monday? Okay.
He's coming this coming
Oh,
Monday,
cool.
yep.
Okay, that'll make
That's
it
why we
easy.
timed him in here, 'cause it would've been, just trying to get everything
There you go.
synchronized wouldn't work.
So see you Monday night.
Thank you, John.
I'll be late though. I just remembered I'll be late. I gotta work till 6:30.
Okay.
Okay. That's it for the agenda.
Minutes?
I got something under other business though.
You wanna do,
We have the June 10th minute?
If you wanna take a minute before the minutes, I got another item that probably under other business we should consider. Our friend All Clear. He hasn't cleaned anything up down there. It's just a big mess. This pile of debris down back.
did
so-
he ever, he was supposed to reply to something Kelly had sent him?
He was supposed to have it all cleaned up, because he came in, I don't know, a couple times. One to that, and then he came, I think, was it Ulster? The guy that was
I'd
in
have
the
to look at your
The
landscape.
minutes.
landscaper in the back?
Yeah, he came in for stuff, and he was gonna,
Right.
he's still in there as far as I know. I haven't seen him, but it looks like his trucks are still out there, but he hasn't cleaned that up. There's still a pile of building demolition and still some of that stuff from septic systems and a whole bunch of trash still piled up in there when you first come in and go up the hill. Plus some old rotten dumpsters that are just thrown in there, so, which seem to have collected since the last time.
I mean, he's in violation of his site plan.
Yeah. So I just figured I'd make the,
Do we know when those minutes were recorded?
That site plan, that was years ago.
yeah, we were down there,
No, the
what?
debris that he's
Oh, the
talking
debris?
about with
Yeah,
the
we told
landscape.
him, when were we down there?
2 years ago.
2
yeah.
years ago now, yeah, before, so it'd be what, 2019?
Yeah,
And also, there's 2 other businesses on the other half over there that don't have, one of them is
over at Bovier's old building.
one of them is a towing yard.
That's nothing to do with All Clear, though. That's a
No, but
different-
that's
Nope,
all there,
it's two
but
di-
still
it's
another
two
one.
separate lots.
Two separate lots, but we also have someone in there that's
Yeah, but-
using it for a storage yard that hasn't been before us.
Phillips doesn't own that lot.
No,
right?
it's two separate
Two
issues
separate
he's
lots, but
talking
there's
about.
another issue in there too. So,
So what do you want me to do?
So we want to send a letter to them, that landowner, with a copy of a site plan application, maybe, and then,
yeah,
To All Clear?
no, to the other guy.
yep.
Okay. So,
Tell him it's coming to our attention that there's
Looks like there's 2 businesses actually, some other landscaping
been an
business.
expansion of the business.
Yeah.
That
I'm not
you
sure that
you should come to the,
planning board, make arrangements to come before the board.
problem is, see, the planning board isn't an enforcement board.
PBA.
I think that package and letter needs to come from the code enforcement officer.
which we don't have.
Well, we just somewhat. He's working on it.
Because the planning board really isn't an enforcement arm.
No, that's the zoning board's the enforcement arm.
Well, they're really not either.
They're not
Somewhat.
either.
It's really in the hands of the CEO, the code enforcement officer.
I could send a letter out, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In absence of.
Why waste paper?
No, we're talking
I've
about
already
the-
got one,
we're
I've
not talking
already
about Phillips
typed
right
out
now,
one
we're
to
talking
somebody
about
else.
Bovier's old building.
I don't even know if the tree service is in there. I don't know if the boys are in there.
Two different lots,
It's divided into 2 different lots,
Yeah, and 2 different owners.
two different
2
owners.
different owners.
Hello, the code enforcement, from my education, is the guy that does the building inspections.
Correct.
He
We're working on
can,
that.
he doesn't
We're
necessarily
working
have
on
to. In this town,
So is
typically he does,
Romeo, that the guy?
yes.
Well, he's just getting his feet wet, so he hasn't really jumped into that yet, so.
See, it's all, they come to us, we approve the plan, then it's a code enforcement to make sure that that's what they do, nothing else.
But I know we set the stipulations on the other gentleman.
I'd have to look at what you did, where you left off with All Seasons,
I
if it's
think-
2 years ago.
Oh,
know.
yeah, all clear.
What?
What else?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think we need to look that up.
Just like we had to research the Alpha storage that we finally got to fruition.
That's been solved?
Yes, we finished that today, he was here. We've got him across home plate, so
Oh, that's
he
good.
was thankful. So we'll move on to the next one.
That's the only thing I had
But the
for
19,
additional.
then the pandemic, you know what I mean, it's just catching things back up, that's what happened to the Alpha storage one.
Mhm.
He got approved in 2020, and then March 2020, and then everything shuts down, so.
Right.
So we'll have to
That's
do
right.
some research
He was
on
one of-
this to see where we ended up.
That was one of our last public meetings, I think, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, with worrying about fencing and trees and
Yep.
stone walls, stones in the byway.
You wanna do-
One other educational question.
Sure.
I'm really new at this. So when you specify the center of a creek as a property, does that get specified in the deed?
Yes.
for those
Yes.
properties?
Yes.
You can do that?
Yes. My deed says that.
Jump back into the weeds.
My deed says that for quite a ways. And you're at the whim of Mother Nature and where your land lies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So would you want to, in that, because if I go dig a hole somewhere, right, it's perfectly legal for me to dig a hole, right?
Mhm.
And if I dig it 3 foot from the creek, and that creek decides that it's gonna meander into my hole because,
Well, we have 25-foot no disturb buffer now, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't be into the tree roots doing that. 3 feet away, you can do it 25 feet away.
yeah, well, it just seems that would be very tough to specify within a deed.
Yeah, it just,
Well-
no, it's down the center line of the creek.
Our church's deed goes up the river on both properties.
Yep.
And just after the old mill, there's an island. And we've got 15 feet of the tip of the island, which presently, if I draw the straight line, is underwater. So we don't have any island. We have water.
Deal with it as a mill, whether they own the street, the stream bed right to the, both sides of the high water mark, and right to the bottom. I know, because I lived in one in New Boston.
You know, it was all man-made and dug out and stuff like that.
Right. I think I asked a similar question when Craig was working on, I can't remember his name, I can see his face, on Gould Road.
Oh, Jack Dearborn's?
Dearborn's
Jack
place,
Dearborn's, yeah.
because that type of thing was the same thing, because I was
Yeah.
questioning that because with the Mother's Day flood stuff that messed up Suncook River, it moved a mile or half a mile different than it had been for generations.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, affected a lot of people's property.
yeah.
Some people gained, some people lost.
Yeah, it just seems that, and I guess my last educational question, when somebody decides something is wetlands, don't they have to put some sort of boundary on where that wetland is?
No. If it's a subdivision, if it's a new subdivision, sometimes it'll be a condition on, by the conservation, especially if it's in, gonna be in an easement. Sometimes they'll want like little placards saying edge of wetland is edge of wetland, whatever. So if it's open space so people don't intrude into it. But there's no regulation requiring that. It's kind of at the discretion of the board whether that condition warrants it or not.
Yeah, someplace, I've been on some jobs where they've got the signs,
Hmm.
you know, no going beyond this point, you know, wetlands. Some of them also put there, no cutting beyond this point, because
Yeah.
you're getting into that buffer and the wetlands, so
But usually, I mean, the wetlands over time can change too, just like the creek does.
they can dry up, they can get bigger.
And you would think they would go back, you know, as specific as they are on some things and loosey-goosey as they are on some others, right? That seems challenging.
Yeah, and the buffer is really a distance from the wetland. It's not a demarcated line. So as the wetlands move, that buffer moves.
So if they go out there and look on a rainy day.
No, yeah, the rain doesn't affect it. If they're really looking at wetlands, it takes more than rain to, yeah. Minutes for June 10th.
I don't see anything in it,
No, Ken's pretty good at taking a minute.
so I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes accepted.
So you have nothing for July 8th, but you have a site walk on the 15th and your regular meeting on the 22nd.
Right. And whatever else may come in between now and then. Please put on the 22nd, not the 8th.
Okay.
Anybody else have any new business?
We adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Good night.